What do you feel is the most common misconception that people have about God?
The misconception is that God is far. So there's a verse in the Quran which says, La taqnatu min rahmatillah. Never ever let go of your hope in the mercy of God. Never.
Quote that has changed your life.
Yesterday I was clever and I wanted to change the world. Today I'm wise and I want to change myself.
Oh,
That's been life change. Imam Ali says ना कुछ लोगों की नमाजें सिर्फ उठक बैठक के अलावा कुछ नहीं है और उनके रोजे सिर्फ भूख के अलावा कुछ नहीं है.
Any decision made out of fear is almost always the wrong decision.
It will be.
Tony Robbins said that.
But I feel that the master of the universe can surely have the space to take you as you are.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Yeah, you gotta faith it till you make it, and
faith it till you make it. Wow.
Isn't
faith
that
it
life
till
changing?
You make it. That's life changing.
So Sair Visuluk, Tao Te Ching, Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, Sanskrit, all of this is coming from the same source.
100%.
Right?
I feel this too.
Yeah,
I believe this
and
too,
Rumi says lamps are different, but the light is the same.
Oh, I love that. You have these Rumi quotes that you're just like taking me out with. I love it.
In order to come close to God, the Prophet said, "Takhallaqu bi akhlaqillah," adopt the qualities of God.
And we can adopt the qualities of God by understanding and getting to know God more by His names.
Yeah, the 99 names of God, according to some scholars, is called the 99 secret gates. You're not meant to create art for the world, but you're supposed to create beauty within yourself through this art.
Oh my God. Assalamu alaikum guys and welcome back to my show HelloZehra, जिसकी host मैं हूँ उल्टी पुल्टी उर्दू speaking Zehra. And today, Aaj, we have sitting with us a guest I have been manifesting for such a long time. She is a healer, a teacher, a guide, and to so many people in our generation. And I'm so excited to welcome to the show the one and only, the legend, Fatima Agha!
Oh my God, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I'm really honored to be here.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for coming. I have been watching you in my room. I'm on your courses. I'm in your class. And I was like, I'm so grateful that you can come so I can, ask you the questions in person.
It will be my pleasure.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah. Okay, cool. So should we just dive in?
Let's go.
So I recently just signed up for your class called The 99 Names of Allah, where you deep dive into the importance and the, beauty and the essence of the 99 names of Allah. So if someone is just starting out, what is one or two specific names that we could really latch on to, hold on to begin our journey?
Sure. I think I'll go with the name I was taught the first as a beginner in my journey, and that was Allah's name, Ar-Rahman. Ar-Rahman is a name that comes from the root word Rahama, which is Raham, which is the womb of a mother. And Allah actually constantly shows us a similitude between Him and who He is as a teaser, as a way for us to understand who He is through the mother, I love you more than 70 mothers, right? So even though over time we are conditioned to think of God as this old man, God always tries to take us into the feminine love, which is unconditional. So Rahman would be the first one because the biggest thing is, who am I? So I can give that to others. And if I can embody the mercy for myself, if I'm kind to myself, if I'm not critical of myself, I will be that for others. Wow. So whatever is in my cup is what is going to spill out, is what I can give to others.
Wow, I love that. And you just said something that, our perception of God has become this, or, sometimes we feel that God is this. So even sometimes really religious people or spiritual people, what do you feel is the most common misconception that people have about God?
I think that the misconception is that God is far. even though we hear it a lot that Allah is closer to you than your jugular vein. Allah says in the Quran, وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي أَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ. When my servant asks you, O Prophet, tell them I am near. But we inevitably look up, pray up, think of the heavens when we think of God, like He's far away somewhere. So there's a little, conversation of Hazrat Musa with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he says, Oh Allah, are you far that I may scream out to you? Or are you close to me that I may whisper to you? And what this is showing to us, Allah says, you call to me as you wish. And what it's saying is that we will have our temperaments and our moods, phases of different kinds of relationships with God. And we can turn to Him in any state we like, in whatever way we like. Another story from Hazrat Musa is about this man. Hazrat Musa was about to go and see God on Mount Sinai, and he sees this guy who's sitting and he's praising God. And he's saying things like, God, if you were close to me, and if you were a woman, I would tie your hair, and I would massage your feet, and I would decorate you with the flowers. And Hazrat Musa is like, what vulgar conversation is this? God doesn't have a body.
Wow.
So you cannot talk about God like that. And he reprimands him, right? And then Hazrat Musa goes and speaks to Allah, and Allah says, Musa, you have broken the heart of a really dear one to me. You have broken his heart. Go and apologize. And he said, who? I don't remember anyone who is close and dear to you. And Allah says, well, there was a man on the way who was talking like this about me because he was seeing me in the way he could perceive me.
Wow.
And he was connecting with me in the way he wanted to connect with me. And I accept everyone the way they are. And, Rumi says there are as many paths as there are breaths.
Wow.
Okay. So
That's
in
amazing.
that sense, we all have that freedom to reach out to God in the way we want, as we are, as who we are. But the misconception is that we think that we need to be a certain way to be acceptable in the court of God.
Yeah.
Even though God is saying, I am near you, I'm closer to you than your jugular vein. I'm even aware of the movement of your eyes. I have grown-up kids. My eldest is 19 now.
Oh my God, mashallah, that's amazing. I thought you had little babies.
No, my eldest is 19. Then I have a
Wow.
16-year-old and then an 8-year-old boy.
Wow.
9-year-old, sorry, he's just turned 9. So with the teenagers, the mother, she's got her sharp eyes on the kids all the time.
Yeah.
And, you're like, you better not roll your eyes at me, So the mother is aware of even that slight change of, tone and the attitude, like, don't show me that attitude.
Yeah.
Or, but it's all coming from a place of that motherly, unconditional love that I am right now building you into a noble human being. It's all part of creating and sculpting you into a noble human being. And that is how Allah's mercy works, that in everything there is His mercy and He's really close. And a lot of times, we go for therapy, we have counselors, we have those safe spaces where people can come and, divulge and talk and vent and unload.
Yeah.
And the only way they can feel truly healed is when they feel heard, understood, and if they can come as they are, right?
Right.
And we don't take the opportunity and make use of that gift that we have with God, that we can come as we are. But we don't. We think I have to be good enough, certain level enough to be present with God. Otherwise, buri baat hai, or Allah will get naraz or something like that. But I feel that the master of the universe can surely have the space to take you as you are.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Yeah,
That
he can
is
defend
so
himself.
beautiful.
He's not a touchy, sensitive, narcissistic. Sorry to say, people make God look like that. The image of God for us is very far and very unapproachable. We don't feel understood by God because the people who have been the PR for God, people who have been the marketing team for God,
Yeah.
they've sadly created an image of God which has deprived us of our own gift of companionship with God.
Right. Yeah, we can't fake it in front of our creator as well, like sabke samne, and then in front of God also. No, we can't.
Who is already aware of who I am.
Yeah.
So we have to be very real now. We have to be very authentic.
Wow.
Even kids these days, mashallah, I think that we're going in the right direction, because our children, sometimes they annoy. I mean, my kids can annoy me sometimes because they will become a mirror for me. They're so brutally honest, and they can see through my sometimes slight hypocrisies or, putting a mask on something or pretending, and they can quickly catch it and call me out and say, no, we don't agree with this, or, oh, but you didn't respect us, but you want us to respect you. And at some point I'm like, easy hai, behave yourself, stay within your limits, and how dare you talk to your mom like that. Bilkul. But in retrospect, they are speaking their truth, right? And we can guide children to say, yaar bol do, pyar se bol do, respectfully bol do, but we should not hush them to not speak the truth, right? Because Allah is al-haq. Allah is the truth. Wow. And Allah is the God particle that I can feel and experience within myself. And the only way I can go to that particle within me is if I can be honest and truthful. Yeah. And some people, one of the teachers I was with said that, people who are brutally honest with themselves are the people who can see true dreams. Wow. They can see truth because they have cleansed all the veils and illusions and bahane and excuses and pretensions and all the fakeness. Yeah. And I remember Marzia Appa, who was also on your show, she taught me something really amazing, because in one of my posts I had written, because that is something I'd learned from one of the courses I had done. And it said, fake it till you make it. Right. And she said, look, there's no place for being fake in faith. Right. Okay. So she said, let's say, faith it till you make it. Wow. Right. She's super wise. Yeah. She has taught me this beautiful life lesson. And she's such a beautiful teacher to me as well. I've learned so much from her. That, yeah, you got to faith it till you make it. And faith it till you make it. Wow. Isn't that life-changing? Till you make it. That's life-changing. Because, yeah, there's no place for fakeness. It's like, God, this is who I am. I want to be better. Help me be better. Exactly. And the conditional, upbringing that we have, the way God was presented to us or taught to us, when, the children, they are so truthful and honest that they will catch their parents' lies. Okay. Yeah. Like I was watching a show recently in which they show that the father figure in the family is extremely manipulative and does, cheats in business or dishonest in some ways. But when it comes to a private conversation, he says, I never tolerate lies. Right. And they zoom into the face of that child who is literally able to see through the lie of this father figure. Adult, yeah. And that disappointment that you're contradicting yourself, you're lying. Yeah. But I'm not in a position to call you out. Right. But from that point onwards, that child is not going to have faith in anything that parent figure is going to say. Yeah. Because they have detected some kind of hypocrisy, a lie about their lying in that person. Yeah. And the child's trust is gone now. And no matter how much the father figure or the parents who think that they should be respected, who think they should be heard, for example, कि मुझसे advice क्यों नहीं ले रहे? Why are they not taking advice from me? It's because they have lost their trust in you because they saw your hypocrisy on your face. Agreed. And so that kind of has become really beautiful about the new generation, that they are not sugarcoating things. No. They're not euphemistic about taking harsher things and sugarcoating it. They're real. They're real. They're truthful. They're authentic. And authenticity is the most difficult thing in a world which is so material.
Yeah.
which is so plastic that to go to the real is the real journey.
It's never too far to return back home, to God.
Absolutely.
It's never, you've never gone that far out that you can't just be like, I'm so sorry, I messed up. And
yeah, so there's a verse in the Quran which says, La taqnatu min rahmatillah, never ever let go of your hope in the mercy of God. Never.
wow.
And Rumi says that, come, this is the caravan for those who may have broken their promises 1,000 times.
Wow, that is so beautiful.
So that is the home that we are seeking. God is our home. We came from home. Our restlessness in this world is the reason we cannot satiate this restlessness through anything on the outside of us is because we have tasted the feeling of being home, and we're waiting to return to that place which truly feels like home. Once my son, we went to speak to a sheikh, and he asked a question, and he said, Sheikh, I want to know, where do we go when we die?
Great
So
question.
another teacher was there who said, well, the place we go after we die is the same place we came from. So he said, then I can ask the same question in two ways. If I say, where did we come from? You'll give me the same answer. And if I say, where will we go? It's the same answer. So she
Smart
said, yeah.
kid.
So he said, okay, so that's our home. We come from there, we go back. Like, yeah. And then he says, so it means that in the middle of our life, we're furthest away from home.
Wow. Wow.
And I was just looking at it, and I was like, wow.
I didn't tell him to say this.
Where did that come from? It truly felt like an inspired conversation. And,
yeah, it does.
And in my head, I'm thinking, wow, it's like he has described what midlife crisis looks like.
Wow.
Right? When we're feeling lost, we have existential crisis. We feel, approaching that middle of the life where a lot of the existential questions become the more prominent part of our life. So that's what it is. We're craving home, and we feel uncomfortable when we're not there. And see, I think that one of the things that has created a big distance between us and God is guilt.
Guilt. I really do feel that I have a question about guilt, but I'd love to go into it now, because I really do feel that guilt sometimes takes us away from God,
Yeah. So if you look up, you can Google this. If you look up David Hawkins' chart on consciousness, he gives an image of a cone. Okay. And at the bottom, he says, it says contracted soul. And as you go up, it's like it's expanding, right? So it's the expanded soul. And at the top, it says transcendence or enlightenment.
Right.
And right at the bottom, it says guilt. Okay. And in the middle, there are these different stages as we ascend in our soul journey. There is guilt, shame, pride, hate, anger, neutrality, pride, love, peace. And then one of the highest is joy.
Okay.
Oh. And Dr. Wayne Dyer says you feel good when you feel God. Okay. And you don't feel good when you're guilty. So guilt is right at the bottom. The thing is that Quran is saying, like Rahafiddin, there is no compulsion in religion.
Yeah.
When I read that verse to myself, it sounds like the person who is giving me the deen is super confident about this faith. When you have a really good product, I don't need to convince you through fear, coercion, or any kind of pressure to come and buy my thing. If it's beautiful, it is good, it speaks for itself.
100%.
It touches you, you like it, word of mouth, it spreads, right?
Bilkul.
So God is quite confident about this religion that came through Prophet Muhammad to us. And we say Islam started with Hazrat Adam because the core values remain the same. It's all about coming back to your inner compass. So the inner compass is what comes through the activation of a sincere heart. Right? And that is the only way we can find guidance, because Quran itself says that this book can guide you or misguide you.
Oh, wow.
You see? So
Yeah.
it's not a guarantee that if I read Quran, I will be guided. I mean, look at Daesh and ISIS. They found a lot of evil and extremism through the very same book.
Wow.
You see? Same religion, but so many interpretations. So how do you find that balance of finding guidance? No matter what book you're reading, how do you feel grounded and centered with your connection to God, that you're on the right path? Is always finding the sincere part of you.
Right.
You know, going back to your sincere part. And what guilt does is that it creates a lot of shame. Okay. So then what happens is that if I am struggling with darkness within me, say I want to quit smoking.
Yeah.
Okay. But if I'm constantly shamed about it, and if it is something really bad, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so bad, you should never do it, or people keep taunting you, right? The shaming of it will never make you understand, why did I start smoking?
Right.
What void within me seeks this uh, temporary joy or pleasure, not joy, but pleasure, a temporary, numbing or whatever is hurting me, right? But if I can, unveil that little wound within me with a lot of care, compassion, and love, and if I find the confidence that I can come to this part of me with a lot of love, of a mother who loves a child and
Yeah.
wishes for the guidance of this child till the very last breath, and I deal with myself with that mercy, with that Rahmaniya that we were talking about, I can find the courage to open it and see it. And if I see it, I can transform it.
Yeah.
Right? So in the world of meditation and Buddhism, they say wherever awareness goes, it transforms.
Right.
Right?
Where energy goes, where attention goes, energy flows.
Goes. And wherever energy goes, it grows.
Wow.
Right? But there's a healing that happens through awareness. When we all want to be seen, right? We want to be heard. We want to be understood. The fact that I feel seen by someone, right, can heal me.
Wow.
In the same way, if I have an inner deep wound, and if I can see it and become aware of it, I can do something to bring it to a place of safety where it can heal. So imagine if you have a cut on your finger.
Yeah.
Right? And you don't see it, you don't recognize it, you ignore it, and you are using whatever chemicals, washing dishes, or whatever work you're doing, and you're not taking care of it because you're not aware of it.
Right.
It gets worse and worse, and it's hurting, and you're just ignoring it, and it's hurting. But then one day when the pain becomes too much, you become aware of it.
Right.
Yeah. And the minute you get aware of it, you're like, hey, I think I should put some ointment and put a Band-Aid on it. Are you healing it? No.
No.
You're just giving it the space to heal.
Right.
Because you became aware of it.
Wow.
Okay? We cannot heal anything or anyone. Even our body only heals itself. The medicine only facilitates the healing process. What happens to a body that stops responding to medicine is that it's not able to heal itself.
Right.
And who is giving the power of healing to the body? God.
Wow.
So truly the healer, the Shafi, and the one who's enough for healing is God. The healing of the wound in my body is never in my hands. I can only put the Band-Aid. Healing happens itself.
Wow, that's beautiful. And nowadays there's so many different forms of healing as well. There's Reiki healing. There's many
different
healing,
modalities
like fasting,
of energy healing.
Fasting has been like a healing for so many years.
Yes.
Fasting. So there is many different healings, but I think it just proves what you're trying to say, which you said beautifully, is that healing comes from God. We can just help, maybe fix it up, but
so
the true healing comes from
the scriptures. They say, ask and it will be given.
Yeah.
And in Quran it says, Uduni astajib lakum. When you will ask, I will respond. There's a there's a very cathartic, a very alchemical effect of vocalizing the need. Okay, the vocalization, the articulation of what I need, what I want, what I'm feeling, my awareness creates a movement. It puts into process a movement in the universe.
Wow.
Which then it's like an echo. You speak and you get the answer.
Wow.
Right? So dua, or vocalization, is something that God is saying that if you want to create something, you speak. So God himself says, be, I said. So God is clearly saying, I said be, and it is.
And it is.
Right? So you have to say it.
Yeah.
And that in itself, we know that talk therapies can be so therapeutic sometimes, because you're able to process yourself through those words. There's a process of bringing clarity to the self when we talk. So when Allah is saying, call upon me and I will respond, he is bringing us to that same place of just speak it. Just tell me. Don't hesitate. Don't hold back. Don't stop. Go into your hujra.
Ask and you shall receive.
Ask and you shall receive. Go into your private chamber. And, Rumi says that, the morning breeze has secrets to tell. Don't go back to sleep. And so many of us, we find ourselves awakening in the middle of the night for no reason. Some people will say, oh, every day I wake up at this time. So many people, young and old. It's because you're being called for a very beautiful rendezvous with your beloved in the middle of the night, and it's your private time to share your heart out, where no one is going to listen to you. You are safe. You are in the privacy. You are with your beloved. And, Allah says the special ones get that opportunity to be with me.
Wow.
So again, coming back to the idea of guilt, if we can change the perspective with which we are perceiving God, not far but near, not very masculine but more soft and gentle, more loving.
Really.
The Holy Prophet said that there are many ways to reach God. There is the path of Moses, there is the path of Jesus, but the path of Jesus is preferred.
Okay.
Yeah, because Moses was all about like the structure and the commandments and the strict discipline. And the path of Jesus was a lot of love.
Right.
And Holy Prophet kind of brought us a balance of the two, right? So there is the Sharia,
definitely,
which is where we are given the edifice, the whole scaffolding of what becomes a foundation. Because the halal and the haram that we have, it doesn't serve God anything.
Right.
But because, I tell kids, it's like you buy a remote controlled car, right? And you get an instruction manual with it.
Right.
You don't get to write your own instruction manual because you didn't make yourself, right? The person who made the car for you is going to give you the instruction manual because they know the car way better than you.
100%.
So God is giving us this manual for our upbeat performance.
Wow.
Right? That you will find the best way to live if you can follow this manual, which is best for you. And then in the Sufi tradition, we have the Sharia. Then we come to the Tariqa.
Right.
And Tariqa is like in Urdu, we say the way, right? The way you do things. So the Tariqa is actually compiled usually in books, and it is called Sayr wa Suluk, the way of the path. Okay, how the etiquettes of the path. And Taoism has a manual of a very similar outline of, the discipline of the path, and it's called Tao Te Ching. And Tao Te Ching, if you translate it in English, means the same thing, the way of the path.
Wow.
So Sayr wa Suluk, Tao Te Ching, Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, Sanskrit, all of this is coming from the same source.
100%.
Right?
I feel this too.
Yeah.
I believe this
and
too.
Rumi says the lamps are different, but the light is the same.
Oh, I love that. You have these Rumi quotes that you're just like taking me out with. I love it. And you said something about the paths are as many
there are breaths.
There are many breaths. And you also do believe and talk in some of your lectures about quantum physics, quantum leaping and jumping. So if we could just, for a short, not too much, but just discuss that how many different paths we could be taking in our lives, and like which one should we take, and is it the right one, is it the wrong one, how do we know, and what does it truly mean to surrender to God?
So Joseph Campbell, he's a
I love
mystic.
Joseph, the hero's journey and all of that.
He has a quote. It says that your own path, you have to create yourself. That's when it becomes your path.
Wow.
Okay. So you can, a lot of people will come to me. Actually, I've had 2 clients, and the core of their issue was the reason they were feeling so stuck is because both were idolizing one of their grandparents who were very holy, very close to God, whose energy they loved, but they just wanted to become like them.
Right.
Okay. But this journey is not about becoming like anyone but yourself.
Wow.
Okay. We have to become who we are meant to become. Wow. And what the prophets and saints have shown us in walking in their path is to give us the confidence to have confidence in the path. Right?
Right.
So that's why if you look at each one of them, you look at Prophet Muhammad, he has his own characteristics and beauty. You see Musa, he has his own miracles. Yeah. Isa is different. Yunus is different. Yusuf is different. Adam is different. Right? And when we were talking about guilt, I love to always give the example of Hazrat Sulaiman.
Right.
That he had the audacity, the confidence to go up to God and say, give me a kingdom you've not given to anyone ever. Right? Yes. And I'm a prophet. So a prophet, is someone who has actualized his human and spiritual potentialities that were possible. Okay? Wow. That's a saint. That's a prophet. And for him to say that I want to reach my highest potential spiritually through this world, through being the king of all the kingdoms, right? A kingdom that no one will ever have and no one has ever had, right? Mm-hmm. And there's a dua in the Quran which says, Rabbana atina fid dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasana. And when people shame us, or people get this feeling like, oh, desiring the world is like wrong, I shouldn't have desires, and I should only be very ascetic, and I should go into, and I say God himself is teaching you to ask for the world first, right? The good of this world and the good of the hereafter. And Imam Ali says that it's not that you own everything. It's just that it shouldn't own you. Yeah. Right? That means if you look at the life of Imam Hassan alayhi salam, he parted with his entire wealth 3 times in his life. Wow. Entire wealth, he gave it away. Just gave it away. Wow. Became zero. Wow. Gained it. And he was a rich man, because we hear that Imam Hussain was extremely generous. So anyone going in and out of the city had to come to the Dastarkhan and eat at his table, and he would feed them. Wow. So he was a rich man, but the money didn't own him. He owned it. He owned it. He owned it. I think there's another thing where if you run after dunya, you won't get it, and you won't get. But if you run after deen, you'll get dunya also. Right. And I believe that because Allah says, I've created everything for you, but I've created you for me. Wow. We must make sure that we are always aware that whatever gifts that are being given to me by the gift giver, okay, always remembering the gift giver, not mine, but it has been given to me so I can reach him. Right. How can I reach him through beauty? How can I reach him through money? How can I reach him through relationships? How can I reach him through my studies? How can I reach him? And what does reaching him actually mean? Yeah. Because for our tiny concepts, we become near to things, either it is geographically close to us that we can walk or travel there, or it's in time, like, as I get older, maybe I'll get closer to God. It's not like
how
that.
Do we talk to God and be so close to God without dying? Like, how do we return home without dying?
And the Prophet actually says, die before you die.
Wow.
And that's a quote that is associated with Buddha and Jesus and Prophet Muhammad. Wow. Because it's the it's the Noor-e Muhammadi that has, traveled through all the prophets and finally culminated with Prophet Muhammad, because the light is the same.
The light is the same.
Lamps are different. So what we're talking about over here is dying before dying is about detaching yourself from the solidification of any identity. Okay.
Right.
We don't solidify ourselves into an identity. So if I think I'm a mom, I have to role play a mom. If I think I'm a teacher, I have to act like a teacher.
Yes.
Right? If I am a Islamic speaker, I have to now act and talk with the lehja and the actions of Islamic speaker. It is the solidification of that identity where you say, me, this is me. I am this, I am this, I am this, I am this. But Eckhart Tolle, he says, if someone asks me, who are you? I honestly don't have an answer, because I don't truly exist.
Wow.
I am no thing.
Wow.
And yet I'm part of everything, right?
Wow.
So I don't have, if you are awakened and if you're aware, you'd be like, I don't know who I am.
Yeah.
I am that I am.
Wow.
Right? The small I is nothing but the capital I. The insan, chota sa, is nothing but the presence and manifestation of God.
Yes.
So I am that I am. So I don't know who I am.
Yeah.
But when we start saying, I am the money I have, I am the status I am the face that I am the taste that I have.
We get attached to these things.
Yeah. It starts to define us instead of us moment to moment defining who I want to be in this moment.
Wow. Who I want to be in this moment.
And so, when we want to come close to God, the intimacy with God is like the intimacy with a friend. Okay? If you have a friend who's been close to you and she travels somewhere and goes away, moves somewhere. And after 6 months, I ask you, Zehra, are you close to, say, Mariam? And you're like, yeah, I'm really close to Mariam. And I'll be like, but you guys are not even in the same city. And you're like, that doesn't matter. We speak every day. And, we have such similar ideas. We want to do similar things. We believe in the same values. That's what makes us close to that friend.
Yeah.
The qualities of characteristics and the constant communication.
Constant communication.
So in order to come close to God, the Prophet said, "Takhallaqu bi akhlaqillah," adopt the qualities of God.
And we can adopt the qualities of God by understanding and getting to know God more by His names.
Yeah. Wow. And that's the way. So that's why the 99 names of God, according to some scholars, is called the 99 secret gates.
Wow.
Okay, or the 99 portals. And those names transport us into embodying, encapsulating those qualities that I want to manifest, I want to activate within me in that moment. So, moment to moment, instead of thinking about what I want to do now, if I set the intention who I want to be.
Who I want to be.
Okay, so Neil Donald Walsh, he is a beautiful teacher. He has his own journey. He's written the books called Conversations with God. And he's also taught a course on Mind Valley. It's called Awaken the Species. And I was co-coaching it.
Oh, nice. I like Mind Valley. I love Mind Valley.
Yeah,
actually.
It's a beautiful platform to check out
cool,
what they teach. And so he gives you this practice as part of that course. And he says, instead of making a to-do list for a particular day, he gave, like, this was the homework. Okay, you make a table of the 7 days of the week. You divide it into 3 quarters, like 3 parts: morning, middle day, and the night. Okay, like evening. And then you write on top, who do I want to be?
Who do I want to be?
And you set the intention in each box who you will be in that time of the day. Wow. So, for example, if you work with furniture and you design furniture and you have carpenters who are working for you, if you were writing a to-do list, you would write, make amazing furniture, or make this tool, or make this table, right? But if you're talking about who I'm going to be, and if I want to be emulating the qualities of God, I will write, I'm going to be kind in the morning, I will be forgiving in the afternoon, and I'll be generous in the night. These are 3 qualities of God, right?
Wow.
Now imagine in the morning you walk into your workshop and you see someone's really messed up a piece.
Yes.
Now in that moment, if your intention was to make a table, you would forget about your human values, your kindness, your generosity, and you'll make the table.
And
That's
I'll be
your
pissed
intention.
that they messed up. Yeah.
And that's your intention. But if your
Yeah.
intention was to be kind, then you will say,
okay, how do we fix this? And
you will be like, okay, hold on. Table is not my intention. My intention is me, who I am becoming in this moment.
oh my God.
Right? And, in my Islamic art course,
Wow.
we had a teacher and she taught me a very profound lesson. So the art of illuminating the Quran, the manuscripts, is done with 24 karat gold, and you make your own gold paint, and then it's like timeless pieces. It takes a lot of effort. You prepare the paper, you prepare the paint, the most minuscule designs. So when we were working on one of our pieces, we were so engrossed, and everyone was trying to protect their work on the working station, and everybody was like, don't touch my things, and And she goes like, I can see everyone's getting really possessive about their art. So we're like, yes, miss, it's so like precious, and And she goes like, what if I pour coffee on your work? And we're like, what kind of a joke is that? Okay? Like, we're putting our lives into this piece of work. And she said, well, I want to ask you a question. Do you really think that God hasn't created enough beauty in the world that you can add to it? And for a second we're thinking, I mean, it would be quite arrogant to think that I can add to God's beauty. I mean, all of my inspiration is coming from God, right?
Yeah.
So we're like, no, I don't think so. So she goes like, well, then why are you creating this art? And then she said,
yeah, what did she say?
She said, you're not meant to create art for the world, but you're supposed to create beauty within yourself through this art.
Oh my God, can you repeat that?
Yeah, you're not supposed to create art for the world. You're supposed to create a beautiful self through that art.
That's so beautiful, yaar. I just love that. So the whole point is to make yourself better. Like, this is what I've learned. Like, all the teachings, all the things, it's like, get closer to God by making yourself a better human being in the reflection of God.
Yeah, and so the moment-to-moment life of a mindful seeker, someone who is looking for an intentional living, a mindful living, will need to set that intention in every moment, because we're insan.
Yeah.
Insan comes from the word nisyan. It means the one who forgets.
Oh.
So we have to do, there's a beautiful friend of mine who did a piece of art, and in that she wrote, do the unholy work of remembering.
Wow.
Because if I remember my truth, if I become one of those who has awakened to the truth, who is not subdued and dozed off and sedated by the distractions of the world, I'll become a rebel, because the mainstream doesn't want me to awaken to my truth and my purpose and my journey of being honest, because then I will question authority.
100%.
Right? So the unholy work of remembering, which is what is the holy work of remembering, of course, which is the work of being in constant remembrance of who your God is. And when you choose to be authentic, when you choose to be real, when you choose to be who you're meant to be, then God is going to take care of you and support you in that journey.
Ameen.
That you're always supported. You're always, that's why in the Quran Allah is saying, Alastu bi rabbikum, am I not your Lord? Qalu bala, yes. It's like Allah is teaching us this affirmation to say in every moment. I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling scared. How will I stand up to this bully? How will I stand up to this injustice? Like, I'm in awe of all the students around the world who are standing up to their authorities, asking to be divested from funding the genocide in Gaza. And I salute them. It's nothing but a manifestation of that faith in saying, God, we keep our pledge to you to uphold truth. And no matter how difficult it is, we will say to you, you are our Lord, and you will protect us and you will take care of us.
And that's, I guess what surrendering looks like, that through joy, that give it to Allah, because we can also be, upset, as I said, that, if Allah hasn't, but the whole part of loving God and surrendering to God is that, no, Allah is doing it for my good. I think it was just, for me, it was a mindset shift where it's like, I'm not being punished, but I'm being so loved and redirected, that it must be the best thing for me, that
Yeah.
God is saving me actually
Absolutely.
through this delay or whatever it is.
Yeah, and these painful situations are wake-up calls.
Yeah.
Because pain awakens us. It helps us go inside and ask these questions like, did I go wrong somewhere? Is it because I need to fix something? Am I thinking in the wrong way? Am I taking a wrong decision? And the heart compass is always going to keep moving in a way where it will ask us to reconsider the decisions that are not aligned with the voice of God.
Yeah.
And it will keep rerouting us to come to that place. So when we talk about embodying godly qualities and becoming godly, in general English language also, if we meet someone really sweet, kind, gentle, soft, generous, we'll be like, oh, this person gives me very godly vibes.
Yeah.
So godly is the emulation of God's characteristics. And the human is a being, not a human doing.
Wow.
So in every moment, we have to be someone. And who will I choose to be? So the masters say that our true free will lies in what I choose to be inside. That's my true free will. That is in my hands.
Wow.
How do I interact with the outer?
Yeah.
That is my true free will.
That is my free will.
And lastly, this becoming of who I become. When the Quran talks about you will not take anything with you, your children or your money, right? Al-malu wal-banunu zinatu hayatid dunya. Your children and your money are merely decorations of this world.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
The similitude of that is like you're dreaming, you're in a dream, and you see you have fruits and you have, say, golden apples, like they're made out of gold.
Wow.
Okay. And you feel like the dream is so real,
yeah,
that you pluck an apple and you start collecting in a bag and you're like, I'm going to take these home. They'll be worth so much.
Yeah.
And then you wake up. And when you wake up, is there any way for you to bring those apples into this world from your dream?
Not that I know of.
No. This is how it will be when we're in this world and we want to understand what is the purpose. What can I take with me? It's like the similitude of that dream where you see golden apples and you think it's real. And you're like, oh my God. If you think you're not in a dream and you start thinking this is a real thing, you're like, let me collect as many golden apples I can take.
100%.
And you'll be like, I want to take these with me, right? They'll be worth so much. And imagine you wake up. You can't bring those apples with you.
No.
There's no portal for you to bring anything from there to here.
Wow.
Because it's a simulation. It's a virtual reality, right? This world is like a dream.
Wow.
And the Prophet says, when you will die, you will wake up. Okay?
Oh my God.
So you can't take anything over here, your body, your things, your degrees, nothing. But guess what can you take with you?
Your good deeds.
What? Like, what are good deeds?
That's a good question.
Okay. If you experience a dream, okay, in which, God forbid, there's a war happening.
Yeah.
And you feel a lot of mercy, a lot of, sympathy, empathy for these people. And in your dream, you're like, you know what, I really want to help them.
Yeah.
And you somehow find courage and you help them. And then you take out all your charities and you give it and da-da-da-da-da. And then you are somehow able to help them. But then you see in the dream that the war erupts again. And what you did was not really enough.
Yeah.
And then you wake up and you come out of the dream. What have you brought with you from that dream?
The knowledge.
So how did you get any knowledge in that dream? Through the experience.
Through the experience. Through this experience.
So
yes.
the right
experience.
assimilation of experience, the right interaction with that experience can create a wisdom within us, which teaches us something about ourselves.
Wow.
Right? So in the dream, you were experiencing pain, you were feeling empathy. There was a movement of emotions within you that was making you into a person of kindness. And in that moment, if, for example, you saw the dream and you didn't help at all and you ran away, you will wake up with a lot of regret. Why wasn't I brave?
Why wasn't I
why wasn't I generous?
Yeah.
Why didn't I embody those golden qualities of a noble, good, brave human being?
Yes.
So if you wake up from that dream and you didn't do what you should have done, you'll wake up with regret. Right? But if you did do the good that you were meant to do in that moment and you had the awareness and the wisdom to do the right thing, you will wake up feeling triumphant that I have done the right thing.
Wow.
This is how we will wake up in the hereafter.
Wow.
Right? That you were in this world and you were tested. How did you perform is the only experience you can take with you.
Yeah.
You can't take tangible things. So if you faith it, like we said, in life, and you build faith. See, remember, faith only builds with faith. You have to put your faith, take the leap of faith to build faith further.
Yes.
It's like if you have a friend and you never call each other in times of problem. You're just on the surface level. You can't say, oh, in my difficult times, this friend is going to come and help me. Right? But if there's a friend and you're in deep trouble in the middle of the night, you need them to take you to the hospital. You feel like, bahut aasan hoga, ye hoga, bura lagega, kya hoga, but you still call your friend and you're like, listen, I need to go to the hospital. Can you get me? And the friend's like, yes, I'm on my way. Now you put your faith in that friend, right?
Yeah.
You put your faith in that friend, and because the friend came through, for next time you have faith in that friend. So life will give you opportunities where there will be fear,
right? And
you'll have to put faith over it anyway, and do it with the fear, putting faith on it anyway. And when God will come through, in every difficult situation, when God will come through, that's when you can start feeling and experiencing faith. Right? So faith becomes an intrinsic feeling within you rather than something you have to pretend like you have. Which is why, I'll tell you something. I watched this movie called Freud's Last Meeting. Okay. It's a very interesting movie. There are some really good actors in it. And in that movie, they show Sigmund Freud's last conversations with C.S. Lewis. And C.S. Lewis is shown as a very devout Christian who believes in God. And Freud is an atheist. And they're having this conversation, right? So they're talking about God and faith and presence and whatnot. And Freud says that, certain things you don't say, they just exist. Okay? Something along those lines. Anyhow, they show that this is the time of Second World War in Britain. And while the conversation's happening, there's a siren to go into the bunkers. Okay? So it's a fearful situation. It's very scary, right? So both of them are sitting in a corner, and C.S. Lewis is shuddering with fear, while Sigmund Freud is sitting very calmly. And he said, you, the one who proclaim of faith, is this your faith? So C.S. Lewis is talking about faith, but not faithing the faith.
I see.
While Sigmund Freud, who
doesn't
is
talk about it,
openly not proclaiming the existence of God, is in full faith of the goodness of the one who has created him. You see? So faith is not something we can show off or put a badge off or...
it's so interesting that you said that, because I know people that, God bless them, they pray the whole day, and they're constantly in ibadah, which is a beautiful thing to do. But that faith, or like that spirituality, that inner thing that you can't teach, they just don't have that. that inner love, you know, where it's just like, you know, I guess it's an old school thinking that, you know, these many prayers equals to like winning, you know, or like heaven. But actually, I think, of course, prayers are important 100%, but it's also about embodying that love.
So prayer, you know, because prayer is not going to give anything to God. God doesn't need our prayers. Prayers are supposed to transform us. For me, prayer is the 5 mini retreats I get in a day, where I can get away from the noise and the hustle of life and find my silence, so I can come back to myself and find the rest. That's what prayer is for me. If I can truly benefit from my 5-time prayers, it's like a stabilizing mechanism for me to come back into my goodness. So when we say amalun saleh, good deeds are not good in themselves, right? A deed cannot be good or bad in itself. Okay. You can be murdering the someone who is the enemy of God, or you can be murdering out of spite. Murdering is not bad. It's the intention with which you're doing it which is bad.
Like I think it was Khizr.
Hazrat Khizr, yes.
Hazrat Khizr took Prophet Musa, and he said, "You can't doubt me. You know, you can't question me. I'm doing these things." And he even killed a young boy. Yeah, he killed a young boy, and Musa was like, "What is going on here?" You know, but I guess you're so right that it's the intention.
It's the intention. So the deeds that we say good deeds don't become good unless they make something out of me.
Wow.
Right? So the piece of art is not the thing to value. It's what it did to me is what is important.
Did it change my life?
Did it make through that contemplation, peace, mindfulness? Did it make me a calmer person, better person, reflective person? So every prayer, I go back to my support system. I go back into my silent retreat, because I find it so remarkable that Allah has made namaz a time when everyone respects. If you're standing on the janamaz, no one will talk to you.
100%.
And sometimes you're going crazy with 10 people wanting to tell you 10 things, children, staff, this, that, parents. And believe me, even if you pretend to stand on a janamaz, no one will disturb you.
No one will disturb you.
Baji namaz pad rahi hai, mama namaz pad rahi hai, beti namaz pad. No one will disturb you. God has created this discipline around namaz that I allow you to take this space for yourself. You know, some people will ask me, I can't always go to the mountains to take a retreat. I said, the retreat is right here. Take that, you know, there are doses. The Prophet said, do you think that your body will remain dirty or smelly if you had a fresh river of water outside your house and you could take a bath in it every 5 times a day? And the Sahabi said, never. There'll be not a speck of dirt. So the Prophet said, your 5 times prayers are like that.
For your soul. Wow.
So you go, you contemplate, you hold yourself accountable, you refresh.
Wow.
Imagine in the morning you heard a bad news, right? So you went into your Fajr prayer, you come out, you have found your balance and you know, sanity through that prayer, you ground yourself, you come out, you hear a bad news. It gives you the composure and the strength and the faith to deal with it. And by midday, God forbid if there's a tragedy, someone's in the hospital, you're already worked up by then. You let it go in your Zohar namaz. And then whatever comes up between Zohar and Asr, you'll wash it off in Asr namaz.
Wow.
By the end of the day, a Muslim who is praying 5 times a day should not have lost the sanity in their mind, and they should be mentally calm, composed and healthy because they have fed their soul.
Wow.
They have cleansed it. They have removed the dust and the rust from their heart even before it came. You know.
Wow.
So like you said, the ibadat is only, Imam Ali says ना, कुछ लोगों की नमाजें सिर्फ उठक बैठक के अलावा कुछ नहीं है और उनके रोजे सिर्फ भूख के अलावा कुछ नहीं है.
हाँ.
You see? So it should not be just something that we're doing on a physical level. When we do it on a deeper place, the effect goes deeper. And the transformation is the only symptom, symbol, indication that your deed has done its work.
I love it. Okay, I'm just going to power through because, I just have a few more questions that I wanted to ask you that it's more Gen Z questions that I wanted to ask you. Nowadays, it's very popular that, tarot, astrology, and, just say, of course, I see these people that are super spiritual and even me too. But mujhe bhi maza aata hai that, I'm Taurus, so what are you and what's your birth time? And, ye wo. But so there has that astrology aspect of things now, tarot, because there's more ways to, I guess, connect with a world that's not in 3D. So what do you think about that? Like, is that okay? Is it not okay?
Okay. So, I think Gen Z really enjoys when things make sense. So just to say nahi, ye nahi karna chahiye is not an appropriate answer. The thing is that God says, I made you in my image. Okay. I breathed my spirit into you. तो ये stars और ये सब तो हमारी मुट्ठी में है. Okay. So what happens when we start doing a lot of this stuff with the tarot cards and all of that? It starts to play with our mind. It starts to put us in a pre-programmed decision making. Wow. If it says you're going to have a good day today, you're going to be like, today's a good day. Even bad things are happening, you're seeing something good in it. If it says you're going to have a bad day today, अच्छी चीजों में भी बुरा दिखेगा. Wow. But you see, there's a little story. Hazrat Isa was crossing someone's house and he told his friend कि मुझे अभी Allah Ta'ala ने ये बताया है. God has told me that there's going to be the death of the bride in this house. जबकि यहाँ पे now they're celebrating a wedding. The bride is going to die tonight. Okay. So they're very sad about it and they move past. Next day they cross the house. The celebrations are going on. So he says, you told me that the bride was going to die. I don't think the bride has died because they're continuing the celebration. So Prophet Isa goes into the house, knocks on the door, and the bride comes out. And he's like, is everything okay? She's like, yeah, everything's fine. He's like, well, I'm Isa, and I was told by God that there was going to be a death in your house tonight, especially of the bride. But it seems like everything's okay. She says, actually, I could have died, but I found a snake that was behind my bed right in time, and we killed it. Wow. So he says, but is there anything you did since then till today? What did you do? You must have done something to change the course of your destiny. You weren't supposed to live. And she's thinking. And you were like, well, someone had come to ask for charity and I just gave sadaqah. Okay. All right. So what am I trying to prove here is that as a human being, we are in the image of the God who's the most powerful himself. And God has given us ways to be the co-creators of every moment. If we awaken to every moment, we decide our future. Who is the star? Who is the Libra? Who is the astrologer? Who is the tarot card to decide about me? Mm-hmm. You can pick up a card right now. It can say something about you right now. Okay? And that can only work if you stay in your autopilot sleep mode. Right. If you're in not your awakened mode, that card may as well work, because how does the mind work? Sensory input comes from the eyes or the ears or the mouth. You see it, it creates a story in your mind and it makes it your personality. It will create fear and it generates thoughts. Right. But we are not our thoughts. We are the observers of our thoughts. Right. Okay. I am not what my mind dictates me to be. Right. Okay, anxious ho jao, panicked ho jao, dar jao. No, I decide who I want to become in this moment. Right. I'm going to be faithful in this moment. I'm going to be hopeful in this moment. I'm going to create good in this moment. So if I decide I'm going to have a good day, I'm going to have a good day. Yes. Okay. Yes. And that's saying I believe in good. Yes. So Allah says in the Quran, did you think that you will believe and you won't be tested? Oh, I've heard that one before. So take it from a very simple example. You get up in the morning and you say, I'm going to have a good day. And the first thing that happens is that you spill your coffee on your new clothes that you had to wear to work. And you're like, there goes my good day. Ye to din acha hone wala hi nahi hai. Now, it's you who's deciding Now, you decided it's going to be a good day.
No.
Your belief is being tested.
Wow.
How resilient are you to stand by your claim that today you're going to make a good day?
Yeah.
You make your good day.
I love that. So in every moment, we are co-creating with God, which is what you said, that there's so many different paths we could take. We're the free will people
Absolutely.
that get to pick that
So,
which one, which God.
To simplify every moment,
Yeah.
I have only two choices in every moment. Will I pick fear or faith?
Oh, any decision made out of fear is almost always the wrong decision.
It will be.
Tony Robbins said
Yeah.
that,
Because fear is the opposite of faith.
And where faith and gratitude are, fear cannot even exist there, where gratitude is. I love it, yaar. This is amazing. Okay, so we have a little chocolate taste test that we'll do, and we'll just, while I'm asking you about that, we could just play like a little quick getting to know you.
Sure.
Thank you so much. So I don't know if you've ever had the, viral pistachio.
I'm obsessed with
thing. I love it. It's my favorite. So I thought that we could try these. This is the Lal's one.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know if you're eating these days, but
no. I love this.
Cheers. Okay, amazing. Okay, so just a quick rapid fire with you to get into it. What is the name of Allah that always gives you peace and makes you?
It stabilizes me, like brings me back. There's a name of Allah that I found is in a dua. But Allama Hussain Tabatabai has quoted it in his book Kernel of the Kernel. It's called Ya Dalil al-Mutahayyirin. It means the proof of the one who is confused.
Wow.
And what it does is that it suddenly makes me realize it's okay to be confused. It's okay to be lost. It's okay to be doubtful. It's okay to not know what to do next.
Yeah.
So I think that's my favorite.
I love that. It's okay to be confused. I love that. Okay. And what's your go-to surah when your heart is broken?
Surah Fatiha.
Oh, wow.
And Inna Anzalna, the Surah Qadr.
I love that.
Because, for me, Surah Qadr is all about being the co-creators in your destiny. I have done a very different perspective on understanding the Qadr. That brings me back. Surah Asr.
I love Surah Asr.
Because watawasaw bil haqqi watawasaw bis sabr.
I swear by time.
Yeah. And Surah Fatiha, because I think nothing beats Surah Fatiha, because the fact that it says Rahman and Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in, that just does it for me.
Yeah. Lord of the worlds.
Lord of the worlds, you I worship, you I ask.
Ameen. How can one needy creature ask another who is in need? We go to humans and we ask them and they're like, bro, like, I've got my own things. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, you're so right. Exactly like this, my teacher. He would say, how can one fakir go and ask another fakir?
How can we?
Go to the one who gives to everyone.
Ameen. I love that. Okay. One quote, although I know you have many in your bag, a quote that has changed your life.
Yesterday I was clever and I wanted to change the world. Today I'm wise and I want to change myself.
Oh,
that's been life-changing.
I love that. Wow. Okay. You already told me this one, but you can just repeat it. Most misunderstood thing about God is that he's far. But he's actually closer to us than our jugular vein. Yeah. And we need to understand that. Yeah. Okay. Finish this sentence. God is
best friend.
Oh, bestie! I love that.
Yes.
I love that. Okay. So now, just a few practical tips. Whoever's watching this right now, they feel inspired by you. They feel in awe of you. That how does she so connected to God? Because people want to be connected, but maybe they don't know where to start. So, of course, prayer, 5 times prayer. Uske alawa, do you suggest breath work? Do you suggest journaling? Do you suggest, what are something that are not like, commonly as Islamic, but something that we could do to gain that spirituality, closeness to God, which is what is really what we're looking for.
You know how our phones have a Siri?
Yeah, Siri.
Right?
Yeah. I love that.
What activates Siri? We say,
hey Siri, what's up, girl?
Yeah. So that's all we need to do. Hey God, that's it.
Oh.
We activate our connection with God by acknowledging He's present, and I can talk to this real, alive presence. So just saying, hey God, today was a bad day. Hey God, I wanted this, I didn't get it. Hey God, where are you? Why am I feeling so lost? That's it. You say, hey God, and you're connected. That's all you need.
Wow.
Call into me and I will respond.
Wow. I love this. And on that note, I think that people are really going to be inspired by this episode. Is there anything you want to add that I didn't ask you, or anything that you want to share that you just learned?
I think you asked me everything.
I love it. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Honestly, I really appreciated it. Let me just go over if there's any.
I really enjoyed your questions. Brilliant questions, well thought out, coming from your heart. It felt like a very heart-to-heart conversation.
I love it, I just, Mazir Khala came, my Khala came. So I kept asking her about like love and, this and that. And that it really, everyone loves to talk about love, but I'll just ask you one question, like a quick one, when we meet someone, like, how do we trust our soul, like about the red flags or green flags?
Okay. So honestly speaking, I've come to a place in my life where I feel like I can never have perfect judgment. I'm not perfect, so my judgment is not perfect.
Wow.
So you have to come into that presence of, again, hey God, and you say, God, I don't trust anyone but you. So if that person's meant to stay and is good for me, you let them stay. And if they're not good for me, they won't stay. I'm entrusting you with myself. Now, what that also entails is that one has to understand that God will never take care of what is good for you or bad for you in only this dunya. In fact, this dunya is not the criteria to judge what is good and bad for us. What is good for me is what is good for my soul and spirit's journey. What is bad for me is what is bad for my soul and spirit's journey. So if for my spiritual growth, something is going to make me a better human being, it may not look like a nice thing according to this realm, but that person will come and teach me something. Right? And that teaching, which becomes a lesson for the soul, gets assimilated into an experiential knowledge. Wow. Right? So my brother-in-law once said this, and I've caught on to that. I've held on to that beautiful thing he said. He said, we either win or we learn. We never lose.
Ameen. I love that.
So we can't trust the world or the people or even myself, in fact. But I can trust God to take care of things for me.
That's what my mom says. I was like, you just tell God to do it, and aapki cheezein aise hi ho jate hain. And she's like, I just tell God to do it and like leave me out of it. I'm like, yeah, like you do it, God. I've got too many things. So this is what I'm going to take that approach with God, where it's just like, love you, God. I trust you to do it.
And trust me, it opens the doors for miracles that happen every day in your life. Life becomes like an experience of adventure, miracles, being surprised every day. In Surah Rahman, Allah says, Kulla yawmin huwa fi shan. In every moment, you will witness new manifestations of God. And honestly speaking, when we leave things to God, we are surprised beyond our wildest imagination, and things come from where you never expect them to come. Albert Einstein, he has a quote. He said, either you can live your life like nothing is a miracle, or you can live your life like everything is a miracle.
Wow. And we're going to live like everything is a miracle, guys.
There's this thing I feel about God, this deep safety, and this is a practical thing people can do. I think our core need in life to feel better in every way is to feel safe. Okay, we don't feel safe. We don't feel safe in finances. We don't feel safe in natural disasters. We don't feel safe in so many ways. Allah's name Al-Muhaymin and Momin, recitation of these two names brings a lot of deep inner peace and safety. And I feel that whenever we're making dua to Allah, we're in the safety net that no matter what in my bewakufi, in my short-sightedness, in my lack of knowledge and wisdom, I ask, my dua is safe with him, because he will only grant what is good for me or better than that.
Ameen. So we can really never go wrong.
We can never go wrong. We can say whatever we want. We can ask for whatever we like. We can be ourselves. We know we're safe with him.
Ameen. Thank you so much for coming, and I loved it. I loved it. Thank you
Likewise,
so much.
it was such a pleasure.
So much.
Yeah.
And please follow you on social. By the way, Queen Fatima Agha over here has the best classes. I'm enrolled in her classes, and you can find her all over the internet.
Should I say my
Please say, yeah.
So I have an Instagram page, which is usually the most updated place.
Okay.
It's Fatima Agha Art. So FATIMAH AGHAART art. And I also have a website, fatmaagha.com.
Amazing! Woo! Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Follow, subscribe, like, share. Mwah, mwah, mwah.